Iran was meant to be cornered, its weapons routes shattered, its operatives hunted, its grip on Hezbollah fading. Instead, Tehran rebuilt the smuggling empire from the ground up, a billion-dollar lifeline of gold, crypto, and maritime shadows stretching from Turkey to Iraq. How did Iran pull off this resurrection? Iran's weapons pipeline to Hezbollah was supposed to collapse. Over the past year, long-standing air and land corridors were choked off, Beirut tightened airport controls, and Syria, once the backbone of the smuggling route, dropped out entirely after the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime in late 2024. According to Ynet, the collapse of these transit routes, combined with the killing of senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps logistics operatives, forced Tehran to reconstitute its entire supply system from scratch. The US Treasury Department, cited by Ynet, said,
Iran has transferred roughly $1 billion to Hezbollah since the start of the year. Funding that Washington assesses is used to rebuild Hezbollah's military capabilities and undermine the Lebanese government's attempts to enforce state control.
According to Ynet, new smuggling channels have increasingly relied on Turkey and Iraq, as well as maritime shipments and cash-based businesses.
Much of this money moved through money exchange agencies and cash-based businesses, using legitimate financial channels to mask its origin. Other methods include gold transfers, cryptocurrency streams, and component shipments broken down into parts for later assembly inside Lebanon.
A US delegation in Beirut last week delivered what Lebanese officials called a blunt warning. Ynet reports the delegation told President Joseph Aoun and Prime Minister Nawaf Salam that Hezbollah's financing channels must be cut as part of dismantling its weapons infrastructure, giving Lebanon a deadline till year's end to enforce oversight of money laundering networks. John Hurley, the Treasury Department's Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, framed the visit as capitalizing on a rare opening.
There's a moment in Lebanon now. If we could get Hezbollah to disarm, the Lebanese people could get their country back. The key to that is to drive out the Iranian influence and control that starts with all the money that they are pumping into Hezbollah.
Another official warned that,
if reforms fail, the United States may be forced to leave Beirut to its fate.
For Hezbollah, the reconstruction began immediately after the November 27, 2024 ceasefire with Israel. 2 weeks later, as the group attempted to move Iranian material through Syria, Assad's collapse shut that border overnight. Lebanon's subsequent ban on flights arriving from Iran sealed the air corridor. Yet Iran adapted with remarkable speed. Smuggling networks were quietly rerouted through Turkey and Iraq, and maritime shipments surged. Cash and crypto filled the gaps once covered by regular land convoys. Citing the Beirut Intelligence and Terrorism Information Center analysis, Ynet reported,
the U.S. disclosure of major IRGC financial support to Hezbollah, along with exposure of the smuggling methods, shows Iran and Hezbollah found alternative ways to overcome the geopolitical changes in Lebanon and the Middle East since the ceasefire.
Hezbollah's new logistics map reveals a decentralized network operating across multiple jurisdictions. According to Ynet, Turkey and Iraq have become increasingly central, functioning as transit hubs for weapons components, electronics, guidance systems, and cash. Maritime routes, once secondary, now serve as a primary channel. Civilian shipping lanes disguise the movement of parts that are later assembled inside Lebanon, minimizing detection and reducing risk after the loss of the Syrian corridor. The rebuilding of this network required structural change. Hezbollah's Unit 4400, responsible for weapons buildup and transfer, re-engineered its operations. Within the IRGC, Quds Force Unit 190, long tasked with coordinating regional weapons flows, shifted from consolidated convoys to fragmented shipments. Israel eliminated several architects of the old system. Among them were Saeed Izzadi, head of the Quds Force Palestine branch, responsible for coordinating with Hezbollah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad. Bahnam Shariari, commander of Unit 190, who oversaw money and weapons transfers from Iran. Their deaths forced Iran to decentralize smuggling, relying on a web of civilian companies, cash couriers, and maritime agents. The Meir Amit Center explained the new model being used, emphasizing
the shift from weapons transport to independent production capability inside Lebanon allows Hezbollah to rely less on vulnerable supply lines and more on local manufacturing based on Iranian know-how, parts, and technology.
Financially, the pivot has been equally dynamic. Crypto channels have proven attractive, particularly for moving mid-sized amounts outside the conventional banking ecosystem. Gold shipments, often moved through intermediaries in Turkey and the Gulf, add another layer of opacity. The Treasury warns that mixing illicit funds with legitimate business activity threatens the integrity and stability of Lebanon's financial system, already fragile amid the economic crisis. Yet Lebanon's enforcement capacity remains limited, and Hezbollah's networks, many embedded within the country's commercial landscape, continue to operate with minimal disruption. The broader strategic implications are significant. Hezbollah was heavily degraded in the war with Israel, losing commanders, weapons depots, and parts of its rocket infrastructure. The group's ability to rearm quickly and robustly shapes the balance of power on the Israel-Lebanon frontier and has consequences for US policy in the region.
Iran's financial and logistical investment is designed to ensure Hezbollah remains Tehran's most important regional proxy. The shift toward local production, maritime delivery systems, and crypto-based financing represents a long-term adaptation, not a temporary workaround.
According to Ynet, analysts expect Iran to persist in this strategy regardless of diplomatic pressure, viewing Hezbollah's reconstruction as essential to maintaining its political and ideological influence within Lebanon's Shiite community. Lebanon's leadership, faced with economic collapse, political paralysis, and competing security pressures, has limited capacity to confront a group that functions as both a political actor and a paramilitary force.